This was the third time doing this video, would you believe me? I've continued to get phone calls from numbers that I know, like bank and such, in the middle of these videos. So it's been pretty awesome to try and do what's going to amount to about a 10-minute video 3 times. So custom Kobe Bryant watch. We took a high definition black and white picture. We cerakoted a dial in full black and then lasered it off in different temperatures to get that definition on there. And it came out pretty freaking awesome. The only thing hard about it is there was no accents on there because we were going off of the picture. Well, the picture isn't going to have accents, and we didn't prep the dial ahead of time, like drilling it out or anything for accent marks. So, but it came out so perfect. We're like, all right, that's what it is. We're just gonna go with that, and it's gonna work. Setting the hands was a beast, though. I can tell you that much. But these were silver hands that I custom painted in black, and then lumed. The second hand, same thing, except the lollipop where the lume would go, I did a purple paint. It's not lumed. That would match the bezel. So black cerakoted case that we engraved Kobe on the side here, black cerakoted crown that we did 24 here, black cerakoted caseback that we did the Mamba logo on, and then black cerakoted buckle that had my logo on, and then Kobe Bryant signature. So this is as custom of a build as I've ever done. A little bit stressful, a little bit difficult to work with, but we got it done. Purple coin bezel, one of the very low profile ones, so it's against that case nice and tight. And then a black ghosted ceramic insert that's easy to fingerprint. I did a pretty good job right before I started of just using the microfiber and just getting off my fingerprints, because you're going to fingerprint it, I promise you. Black leather strap, super soft with purple stitching in it, and that ties in nicely with our purple bezel and our purple dot. So that's the build as a whole. It was extremely tough to put together, but we got it. Bezel is a tension ring bezel, so I make them a little bit tighter. So it's not a clickable bezel. You can turn it left, you can turn it right. So it's on there. You have to actually grab it to turn it. You won't accidentally bump this around. But with that said, you want to make sure your bezel's aligned when you're setting your time, since you have no accents to look at on the dial. So good thing that I like to do is if you're holding it nice and straight, you can kind of look and go, okay, 6 should be here. You can look over at the 3 o'clock. Your 3 should be lined up somewhere in that crown. Now that crown has different edges to it depending on how tight you've got it turned down. So if you can kind of load it in the middle of it, you should be just fine. If you do it in the middle, the 6 should be in the middle, the 12 should be in the middle, right? So automatic mechanical, you can wind it, you can wear it, you can put it in a watch winder, but if it's dead or you're not going to be very active, make sure you wind it just a little bit before you put it on. And how you do that is you back the crown off the threads until you hear it and feel it clicking. At that point, you can wind. And a wind is a turn away from you. Now, turning it back towards you doesn't do anything, but it's a lot easier to just go back and forth. And that keeps your spacing because you're in the wind setting right here. If you do this for 4 or 5 seconds before you put it on, even if you're not very active, you will keep time throughout the day. And if you do it for something closer to 20 seconds, which is what I do to make sure that they're running and the hands are set properly and there's no issues with the movement. If you do it for something like 20 seconds, you're going to max out your 31 plus hour power reserve on it. You cannot overwind it. You can wind this all day. I can do this all day and it won't affect it at all. Whenever you're comfortable with where you've wound it, like I said, you only need to do this a little bit before you put it on because you've got a rotor in there. Now, you can't see because this case back's on here, but there's a custom rotor on here, a stainless steel movement holder, and this is an automatic watch. So just winding it just to make sure you don't lose any time through the day if you're like driving or you're at a desk or something like that. That's all I was getting at. If you pull it to the one end only click, you can now set your time. You'll notice you've got play in that crown because you have a wobble crown. It's going to deflect lateral pressure from going into the stem, putting any adverse pressure on the movement. So when you're pushing and prying on it, you're actually just, it's rotating with you. If you pull it straight back, you won't get that. Just obviously because you won't be putting any lateral pressure on it. Okay, Google, what time is it?
It's 11:21 a.m.
11. I was at 10, wasn't I? 11:21. You're just going to have to kind of, when it's something like 21, you're just going to have to go, what's about 21? These little in-between marks here are like 22 and a half, 27 and a half, 32 and a half. So you can kind of go off that a little bit. When you've got it where you want, push it back over and make sure you've taken it out of the time setting. You can't go back to the wind setting until you screw it back in and disengage the clutch. But when you push it back over and make sure you're out, that's so that when you're screwing it down, you're not still setting the time. You don't still see your hands move go because you didn't get it out of there. So if you get it, tap it over where it's like just seated down, you won't have that. Most of the time, you can just kind of push it over and then start screwing it down. And then if you notice the hands move, pull it back out, set your time, and then just kind of tap it over. It takes a half a pound of pressure to just push it over. You just want to make sure you go past that point where it disengages that clutch. If this is new to you, I promise you it's simple. It just might be a little weird at first. You're like, okay. And then you do it once. You're like, okay, that wasn't a big deal. But now I remember it. So that's the build as a whole. I thought it came out pretty freaking awesome. As with every build, we'll move into that next part. Comes with matching beads. Entirely up to you whether you wear them or not. They will be there with you regardless. We were able to laser etch that same image with a router on this box. So custom box coming with it as well. And then as with every build you get from me, you're going to get watch cleaner. This is good on all glass and metal parts. So everything here in the center. Non-streaking, non-toxic, non-residue. Some leather conditioner to keep this leather strap perfectly soft. If you ever feel that it's getting rough or anything like that, which it should be a very long time before it would feel like that. But just apply it on the front and the back, let it soak in, remove any excess, let it set up for a minute or two, just let it soak into that. And then lastly, some fine scratch remover. This is Novus 2 from Amazon. I've just repackaged into these little things here. It's basically like buying Polywatch, except Polywatch is $8 a piece, and I can make a bunch of these for 24. I can make like 15 of these for 24 bucks, so I do that. But this is for your glass. This is an acrylic glass. You can scratch it, but if you do, put a tiny bit on it. Buff against it using your included microfiber that your watch is wrapped in. Go against that scratch, backwards and forwards, filling that scratch. And after about 20 seconds, that scratch will be gone. What helps do it is swirling on it, going perpendicular to the scratch, generating some heat with your thumb. You will just knock it out that much quicker. But only use what you need because the rest has to go somewhere. You don't want to be pushing under the bezel, having a lot soaked up into your rag. But that's it. That is the custom Kobe brailled. Hope you love it, man. It was awesome to build it. It was very stressful to build it. But we're done with it. So I'm glad it's going to be headed to its new home, to a new customer as well. So I appreciate you a ton. But if you want me to build you something custom and unique, reach out and I'll see what I can do. And if you want to continue to see videos like this, like and subscribe as I put them up all the time. Thanks, guys.